Hi guys, hope you're all well. It's been a while, obviously with everything that's been going on and stuff. I hope everyone's staying safe and everyone's families are good during this ridiculous time. Obviously it's going to be a little bit of a different content this week because the Premier League isn't back till Wednesday, and obviously I am a Newcastle fan and most of my content is about Newcastle. So even though the Premier League's up back, I still want to sort of get back on the content bandwagon, start getting into YouTube videos again, because obviously I've got nothing else better to do than being stuck in the house, and I've actually really missed it as well. I've been watching, has anyone else been watching like Bundesliga and La Liga? I don't know if a lot of you'll know this, but I follow Atletico Madrid as well. I have since I was 9 years old, and a young Fernando Torres was a 19-year-old youth. Ever since then I've followed the team. So luckily they played yesterday, so I got to watch them, which was a draw, 1-1. Not the worst result in the world, but at least there's actually something now that we can sort of watch and I can focus on. Today's video is going to be something a little bit different, as I've said. I asked a lot of the NUFC fans on Twitter if they could bring back any player that's played for the club, obviously that doesn't currently play for the club, past or present, well, you know, like a long time ago or sort of recent, last 10 years. If they could bring back any player to the club who would be the hero of the season, save our season amidst everything that's going on, who would it be? So I collated a top 10 of players who people said on Twitter. Obviously a couple of them got a couple of mentions, so they're like the top 3 who got the most mentions. I will sort of name everyone's Twitter handle who gave me one of the answers. Yeah, so let's just get right into it, and this is the top 10 local heroes of Newcastle United. Number 10, this was from Sparky Georgie on Twitter, was Lovenkrands. Now, this is the one who I was like, wow, I would never have ever thought about Lovenkrands to come back to the club and sort of be the hero. But when he was a player at the club, it was one of sort of my favourite periods as being a Newcastle fan, that era of players. And I think it was just, you know, he loved the club, he was very, and I think still to this day he talks about us in a very positive light. He always tweets about us, that I've noticed, and it would just be nice to see someone who actually had passion for the club to come back and who genuinely loved the club. Yeah, it would be really nice to see someone back who, yeah, just like, as I say, loved the club and had so much passion for it, and it would just be a nice feel-good moment in these times. Number 9 was, a couple of people said this, I wasn't actually going to include him because he is a massive racist, basically, but yeah, it's Peter Beardsley. I'm not going to say much about him because I don't have the energy to speak about a racist, but yeah, he was number 9, a couple of you said it, not sure why, but I hope he never comes anywhere near my club again. Number 8 was King Kev. This was from JB on Twitter. As JB said as well, he doesn't think that anyone else deserves to go out a hero more than King Kev, which I do agree with. The club treated him very dirtily, obviously from Mike Ashley and the helm, and he is one of the only people who have been involved in the club as deep as he was, who have spoke out against Mike Ashley, because there's so many Mike Ashley sympathisers within our club. I mean, people that you wouldn't even think, like Shola Amiobi, for example, just massive Ashley sympathisers, and King Kev's always been the one to say, like, look, he's not a good man, he treats like the club like shit, he treats the fans like shit. It would be nice for Kevin Keegan to come back in a role when the takeover goes through, if it goes through, by the way. That's a whole another video. That's a whole other story. If anyone deserves to come back in a role and, you know, have the appreciation of the club that he deserves, because he gets it from the fans but he's never had it from the club, it will be Kevin Keegan. So I definitely agree with him, and I would have always included him on the list regardless. Okay, number 6 is Rob Lee. This is from Martin Starkey on Twitter. He said that we're obviously screaming out for someone with an engine like his, and an eye for a goal. We are struggling for goal scorers. I mean, even towards the last couple of games when Almiron had started maybe banging a few in, and we still don't have any prolific goal scorers that we can rely on. So I think, yeah, he's definitely a good one on the list, and it will be great to have a player of his calibre at the club at the moment. Number 6, this is from Tor Madsen on Twitter, and this is Tino Asprilla. I was quite young when Asprilla was a player for Newcastle, so I don't remember him a lot as a player at the time. It's more sort of as I've gotten older, watched old videos, watched old games, realised what sort of a mad player he was, and a good player despite all of his madness and his fun. A lot of the fans interact with him on Twitter, and he's quite good at interacting with Newcastle fans. He still tweets about us a lot, and he still gets involved in the match day banter on Twitter, which I think is really, really good. It's nice to see players of that era on Twitter sometimes, because obviously a lot of the younger generation wouldn't have seen them. So it's nice to get that interaction and keep the sort of rep with the club going. Bring a lot of smiles to the game, and that's what the game's about at the end of the day. I know a lot of football sometimes, the real meaning of football sometimes gets drowned out with sort of business and money, but at the end of the day we watch it because we love it, we watch it because we live it, and yeah, Asprilla will be a great person to bring back to the club as a hero. Okay, so number 5, this is from Ilfenomeno on Twitter, and this is Ben Arfa. Ben Arfa will be definitely one of my top faves as well, because he is one of my favourite players that I've ever seen play for Newcastle United. His flair, his creativity, when he was on the ball you just knew he was going to do something fantastic, and I would love to see a player like him, because I think he's sort of very similar to Saint-Maximin, obviously with the dribbling and the skill on the wing. I would love to see him back at the club. I was so devastated when we let him go. Ben Arfa was massively pardewed.
Reaction there from the player, first class.
I just wish he had lived out his full potential at Newcastle, because I think it would have been such a great career, and he would have been, even regardless of anything, he's still a fan favourite, and I would definitely love to see him back at the club as well. Okay, number 4, this is from Charlie Rob on Twitter, and this is Johan Havei. Now, I'm not going to lie, when Johan Havei left the club, I hated him. I don't know why, but I think a lot of football fans are the same, where when a player leaves your club, regardless, you sort of feel some sort of, not hatred, but like dislike towards them. I'd love to see Havei back at the club. I would love to see him slice open the defences, because we've got really no one that does that now. I mean, Maximin, we can agree he does that, or tries to do that. Havei was always a consistent passer. You could always trust him in free kicks. I mean, he scored some absolutely fantastic free kicks for us, and I know that at the moment we're actually 19th in the league for passing accuracy. I think we completed like 9,500 and something passes, which, yeah, the only one who completed less is Burnley. I mean, we definitely need a passer now. We definitely need someone who has the accuracy, has the eye for a ball, because I personally feel like only Shelby can, pick out a pass for us at the moment. Maybe he's Shearer on occasion. But yeah, I think Havei would be a great addition to the team at the moment, and I would love to see him back. Number 3, this is from Matt J. Lees on Twitter. Thank you for your contribution, because this is definitely, if he wasn't my number 1, he would definitely be second on my list, because I absolutely love this man. I love everything that he stands for, and I love the passion that he showed the club, and it is Jonas Gutierrez. There is absolutely no denying on earth that man was done so dirtily by the club, and it is something that I will never forget in my whole life as a football fan. The man beat cancer and came back to score the winning goal to keep us up out of relegation in the Premier League, and he was then told that he would not be getting a further contract and that he was leaving the club. After everything that man had been through, after the passion he'd showed the club, he did so much for us, he showed so much skill, and even if he wasn't the most amazing midfielder in the whole wide world, he constantly fought for the club, he constantly showed the passion that he wanted to win. And that team in that era, obviously with Colaccini, Nolan, Barton, that whole team at that point is probably my favourite team in the history of Newcastle United. And when the way he was done by that club is so disgusting, even fans from all over the world, football fans, thought it was just disgusting, and people still speak about it to this day. But props to Gutierrez, he always has said, I love the fans of Newcastle United. I absolutely love the fans, and that is why he still has an affinity towards us now. And he says he's always a Geordie no matter what. He has these funny tweets where he's like, once a Geordie, always a Geordie, love the fans. For him to even think that, I mean, I know it wasn't the fans' fault, it was the club's fault. And he's always agreed that it was the club's fault from day one. For him to still relate to the fans and still like involve himself with us, I think is just fantastic. And honestly, I deeply wish that we could bring him back to the club, and it's just one big fuck you to Mike Ashley. So number 2, this is obviously a very sentimental one. I had a couple of people say this on Twitter underneath the tweet that I sent out, and I think it's very well deserved. And this was Gary Speed. I hope you're resting in peace wherever you are, Gary. But yeah, it would be great to see him back at the club. A lot of people on the comments said that they would love to see him play with Shelvey, because they think that he would make Shelvey 10 times the player that he is at the moment. I know Shelvey's a little bit out of favour and has been since Rafa obviously came to the club, but I still think he's a quality player, and I still think he's a very important part of our team. It would have been amazing to see Gary Speed and John Joe Shelvey play together, because Gary could score some bullet headers from where he wanted to. He absolutely dominated the midfield, and I would just love to see a player of that calibre at the club now. And he was a great custodian of the club as well. Finally, I think this is obviously the choice of pretty much most Newcastle fans if they could bring him back, or probably fans of other clubs, if they saw this question they would say the same, and it is Alan Shearer. As I've mentioned earlier in the video, we don't have a goal scorer at the moment. We have a couple of players who can score 1 or 2 goals. Obviously we bought Joe Linton to be a goal scorer. We bought him as a number 10 and play him as a number 9 and expect him to be this prolific striker, which is stupid, but that's another story. I'm not the manager. So yeah, we're absolutely screaming out for a player like Alan Shearer now. Prolific goal scorer, can bang them in from anywhere. You just trust him with the ball up front. You make a run, he mostly scores. He's got the passion for the club, he's got that fight, he's not afraid to be aggressive, he's not afraid to stand up for himself in the game, which obviously now it's crap because you can't stand up for yourself in the game. There's not like any tussle as there used to be, you know, between him and like players like him and Roy Keane. There's nothing like that now, but I would love to see that back part of the game, because I just think it makes it more fun, it makes it more exciting, makes the rivalry more interesting, because as Newcastle United, we don't have rivals anymore as such, because Sunderland are rotting down in League One for the 3rd season, which is just fantastic, and Middlesbrough are sort of hugely irrelevant, and they've never really been our main rivals anyway. It would be nice to just bring a bit of like excitement back to the game, a bit of aggressiveness that the game's lacking now because everyone's pussy-o. She would definitely my choice, if not Gutierrez. As I've said probably like 40 times now in that sentence, we are desperate for a goal scorer, and he would just be a perfect addition to the team right now. So guys, that was the top 10 local heroes for Newcastle United. I hope you all enjoyed it. I, for one, cannot wait for Wednesday. I am currently a Bundesliga / La Liga expert because that's all I've been watching. And I'm just so glad for the Premier League to come back and do some shithousery on Twitter and get involved with everyone, get the match day banter back. Obviously, I'm gutted that we can't go and watch the games, especially the FA Cup game against Man City, because knowing our luck, it'll be the year that we do so well in the FA Cup and we can't even go and watch it. It's just typical Newcastle United. But I hope to hear from some of you on Twitter this weekend. Hopefully it's a good result for us, because I have been stress-free for 3 months now, football-wise, and I don't know if I can physically take the stress that Newcastle United caused me. So I really hope that we have some positives to take from this game. I hope that I'm not sitting there moaning on Twitter, as I do pretty much every week about Newcastle United. I hope we see some new skills from the players, new positive outlooks. I and yeah, just hopefully, as I say, it's a positive. And again, I hope that we hear about the takeover this week, because I am sick of waiting about the takeover. Like I've said, that is a completely other video. I could chat about that for 3 hours. Just shout out to everyone on Twitter, Red Rose Michelle and RJ Rosser, who have been, you know, explaining the legal elements of the game, of the takeover, sorry, and trying to explain them in layman's terms to fans who don't understand it. Shout out to the positive people, shout out to the negative fans, because we need that balance. We don't want to get ourselves too carried away, but we also don't want to pour negativity on what is already a negative takeover. Fingers crossed we have some good news this week, a positive result, and I really hope to speak to you all soon.